how are you?
I'm good.
What did you do this last week? Anything interesting?
I had a birthday. It was not, I was, I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do anything for my birthday. And I accomplished getting to see the exact people I wanted to see in the exact ways that I wanted to see them.
Good.
And I'm really thrilled about that. Weirdly, one of my friends was like, hey, do you want me to like come over and bring some cake and then sing in your backyard? And I was like, weird. I want exactly that. And I didn't even have to ask for it. It was so rad.
Hey, good friends.
I know. Hey, so what did you do this week?
Well, we had a birthday of sorts too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a baby on Friday. She is almost a week old.
Oh my gosh.
She's gorgeous. Her name is Iris Elizabeth Rave. She was born 8.1 pounds and she is 22 and a half inches long, which apparently is quite tall for a baby only 8.1 pounds.
Yep.
She's got really long fingers and toes, which makes me think she's going to be all long and skinny like her mom.
Whoa.
She's very hairy. And she's got so much hair. And it's so soft. And we're all high on baby fumes. Like new baby smell is indescribable. It's amazing. I love it so much. And her personality, knock on freaking wood about this one, so far seems to be very much like, I don't want to be an imposition. Like, it's okay. I'm cool. I'll just sit over here. You guys just go. It's cool. I'm fine. She's like sleeping for blocks of time.
Wow.
She's eating well. She's very quiet. She doesn't cry too much unless something's really bothering her. And even then, she'll get right back to equilibrium. Sleeps a lot on everybody. Doesn't mind being passed around.
Wow.
Like, I'm trying not to jinx it here, but she's more like a doll.
Yeah.
Like unbelievably cute doll that makes sounds that like feel like they were created in a sound laboratory where they're trying to make the cutest possible sounds that you could ever imagine a creature making.
Yeah.
She makes those on a regular basis.
Oh my gosh. Well, then we could record those. That seems important. Like,
I have a few. Yeah.
Oh, great. Good.
I've recorded a few instances. I should get the better microphone and get some cooing from her. But her brothers are in love. The 3-year-old has been talking about her ever since, like before she was born, but especially when she was born. He got it and he knew what was going on. And he was like, big little sister, mom, little sister. And he's so gentle with her and he's being really, really sweet. He's not going to bed very well every night so far. She's fine, but he's really wired every night.
Because he's super excited. There's a whole new person.
Yes.
And
Mom is kicking ass. She's doing so well. I mean, she, was attacked with a very sharp knife, gut wound. And she's healing up very well, but she can't do a lot. But she's still managing both the kids at night. Like, she's like, no, I want them in here in my bed. I will handle it. And like, the last 2 nights, we didn't even have to go in there. She's doing all the nighttime feedings. I mean, she's a fucking superhero for sure.
Wow. That's just, I have, a cat. I get that this is a thing people do and that babies are hard and what that, like, one of the things I watched this week was about how babies are hard and they take a whole lot of thing. I feel like an alien sometimes when people talk about babies and kids and things, because I'm just like, yeah, that's a thing that people do. And I don't have the cells in my body don't respond like some people do.
I get it. I definitely have the part of me that looks at my friends who do not have children and goes, oh boy. And it's pretty easy to like go down that road in your head and be like, wow, look at all that I've sacrificed for these little creatures. And yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why, my philosophical view is that human beings we are all legion. Like, it's okay to be like really happy being a dad and also be aware of the part of you that's like, oh yeah, my life would be way better in so many ways if I didn't have kids. But I'd be missing out on stuff that better is the wrong word, because I mean, one of the main reframes that I've been talking about this last week with my clients as well as my family has been one of the benefits of children. I think for me anyway, is, Milton Erickson used to say, if you want to make sure that you learn something, put yourself in a situation where you have to learn something, where you don't have a choice, where you know that if you are in this situation, you are going to figure out. Children for me are a thing that I'm not going to drop the ball on. So they're a thing that calls me up to a higher level. Like, I have to figure out how to maintain my life and be a good dad and maintain my relationships and work on my career. And I feel like it would be so easy for me to get complacent if I didn't have that. I know a lot of people who are really comfortable, and I don't know, the word comfortable scares me a little. Feeling good, feeling relaxed, feeling at ease, feeling joy and pleasure and excitement. I like all those things. Right. I don't think I like comfortable. I think I've learned to distrust comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and there's that. Well, okay, maybe you'll get this. Maybe your children will have children, but there's a thing that happens. I mean, parents all the time, they have the phrase, just wait till you have kids. And then also my parents say things out loud to me because they are my parents that they think I'm going to understand, because I mean, like, logically, rationally, I understand the words that come from their face, but they have a love for me and that shows up in a particular way. And then they did a thing with their own life to make me be a human. Whatever that means, I don't know what it means. Like, I go to therapy and I have my issues with my parents, and they have parents that they have issues with. And so we get each other there, but then they say phrases out loud that equal blah, blah, blah. I'm a parent. Here's feelings I'm feeling. And I'm like, cool. And I don't get them, and I don't care about them in the way that they do, because they're feeling them in their body, because I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, I like my cat. And I've loved people, but I don't know the thing that is a human that you choose to love in such a way. Either you like parenting by choice and you found it from somewhere, or it came out of your own body and it has weird qualities of you and your cousins and your great aunt, whatever. And how freaky and magical, and all the sleep you lost and the vomiting. I have none of those experiences. I've just heard about them and seen them in movies. So, I don't pretend to know. And it wasn't one of those people. My family we weren't baby people. We weren't marriage people. We weren't baby people. So I wasn't even around kids when I was little, like some people can be,
Right. Yeah. I wasn't much either. I've had way more baby exposure as an adult. But I guess the way you have been around children is sort of like me in school. Like, I didn't go. I've heard people talk about it, and I've seen it in movies a lot. And I guess I've had, a few tastes of it. I went to summer camp, but that would be like like holding a baby for an afternoon or something and being like, okay, I guess I had an experience of it. It's not the same.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, so here's this. I was cooking. Was I making coleslaw? I was making something. And I just started, and it may have been because I watched Hancock. And then I just started humming a tune and then realizing that it kind of works. So you ready? Couch Potato, Enlightened Couch Potato Show. Couch Potato, Enlightened Couch Potato Show. Enlightened Couch Potato Show.
It's good.
It's like a Sanford and Sons theme song.
Yeah. I like it. I like that it doesn't fit like your lyrics get kind of offset as you move through it. It's fun.
Yeah. I don't think we can use it though. But here we did it this one time.
Okay, fine.
So Tully is the movie that I watched. I'm still eking my way through Charlize Theron movies, and this is another one with Diablo Cody and that Jason Reitman as a pair, as a director. This movie is about, she's a very, very, very pregnant woman who then has that baby and is pretty alone trying to take care of it, and she's not doing well, dealing with depression. It's like postpartum, and the storytelling is so good and compelling. And it's
probably not a movie my wife should watch right now.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah. It's just, I definitely got to in alignment with the exhaustion and the monotony. And what I love is it's one of the first movies that I've seen tell the truth about motherhood and the pressures and just drop you in it. It's not unlike the movie Speed, where you're just suddenly in this bus that can't stop. The motherhood as the bus that can't stop, and you're just sort of dropped in the middle of that tension and like stress. It's pretty good. I highly recommend it. Maybe for a year from now.
Is this, when you say Diablo Cody, did they also do young adult? Is that
that same team
with Charlize Theron? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, and she's I don't know. There's a bit of the theme of what one's life used to be like before this moment. Charlize does a really good job. I was talking about this with Kate Winslet, that both of them do this really good job of like dropping into the character without vanity. So this is the one that I guess they kept talking about how she'd put on 50 pounds to do this movie so that she could be. She did. She ate a lot of, apparently she'd just done Atomic Blonde and was in the best shape of her life, and then went straight into this movie and had 3 months. She put on 50 pounds in 3 months, just eating a bunch of burgers and fries and things.
Hard on your body. That's what Christian Bale has come out and been like, I'm done. And he, I remember in an interview, he was like, I have recently come to the point where I don't even want to talk about those transformations a lot anymore, because I think that it has set a standard for actors that if you're really committed to your role, here's what you're going to do. And he said, but then look at the movie where Gary Oldman played Winston Churchill, and he's perfect. He looks exactly like that. And he didn't have to hurt himself permanently to do this. And he's like, I have serious problems because I've gone up and down and up and down and up and down in this way, and it's not healthy for you. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. She's done this before. She's done this before because she did Monster, and she did quite a physical transformation for that.
True. Yeah.
Not probably 50 pounds, but something.
I think she put on 30 pounds for that. And she was much younger. She said it took her a year and a half to work that.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about that movie. When you think about movies that represent the deeper, like, unspoken things about motherhood, I can't remember if we've talked about the Babadook. Have we talked about that?
You love that movie.
Yeah, I do.
You've mentioned it a bunch of times.
I think it was one that I was like, I don't know if you want to watch this movie, but it is a movie that you wouldn't think on the surface is about motherhood, but it is. That's exactly what it's about. And it is about deep shadow aspects of motherhood. And Yeah, this movie sounds like it would be in a similar category where it's like, it's about motherhood, but boy, this is not a fun ride.
No, and it's also this movie is about the stuff that I think people are starting to talk about. I mean, we're right now. The Summer Olympics are going on, and Simone Biles, withdrew from the all around, and then the individual and the team for mental health reasons is what she's telling people. So there's these new conversations now about telling the truth and taking care of yourself, and like self-care as a revolution. And so I think we had just about a decade of these helicoptering, Martha Stewart-y, like competitive momming. And I'm not saying that stopped, but what's happening now is more truth about postpartum depression, more truth about how exhausting and hard it is, more truth telling. And God damn it, I support that, because so many of my friends are mothers and exhausted and don't feel like they can actually talk about what's hard about the gig, because they're supposed to be.
I do feel like that is shifting, because a lot of the people who I see offering support to mothers now, that is the conversation. The conversation is there isn't a right way to do mothering or parenting, and arguably one of the most important things you need to do as a parent is take care of yourself.
Yeah, like
one of the strategies we've been adopting from a child psychologist that I really love, whose name is escaping me right now. Gabor something or other, I think. Anyway, brilliant. And one of his things is don't worry about the new kid so much. The kid that's already there has a reference point for how much time and attention that they are used to receiving. And if the new kid comes in and they immediately see a steep drop off in the time and attention that they get with mom and dad, resentment is inevitable. But the new kid, they don't have a reference point. So they're just going to get used to, like, don't neglect them, obviously, but you don't need to give them the same kind of attention you gave the first one when they showed up, when you didn't have anything else to do. So as an example, these kind of shifts in the conversation about taking some of the pressure off and realizing that, like, it's good for kids to be bored sometimes and stuff like that. Like let yourself relax and enjoy being a mom, and how hard it is to do that because there's all this pressure from the outside to do everything. And
well, and that started with the middle class being invented in the early 19th century, like 1900s, and then the like Eisenhower years and the baby boomer humans, and then nuclear families being developed. Like what are we, like 50, 60 years into this whole like two parent thing instead of a whole community of people raising children.
Right.
Like, that's also why it's exhausting. I got very excited for you quietly. And I'm telling you about it now, that you have many adult humans in your home.
Yeah.
For the children that are being raised. And like, why only two? That's just not enough.
I can't even imagine just two and not going crazy. And then you hear about fucking single parents, which that doesn't compute for me. Right. Like, how does one do that? Even with two parents, it feels like too much. Even three feels like a lot. I'd love to have more.
All the parents, applications, bring them all in. Yeah. So that was the thing I watched. It's well,
good. So it's perfect. So I'll throw one out too.
Yeah.
So I watched some better movies than this, but the one that I think is most hilariously Freudian, maybe, I don't know. On the day of my daughter's birth, Friday, July 23rd, it was fairly early in the morning. She had a C-section. It went well. After a few hours, the baby and mom are both exhausted. Mom's taking a lot of drugs, and she's like, the hospital is boring. You can go home. So I went home, hanging out with Faye, and trying to decide what to watch. And I'm like, this was kind of a stressful morning. I mean, awesome and amazing. And also, so what are we going to watch? And we're browsing through the list of fucking Amazon or whatever. And I saw a movie and I was like, this is an action movie. Have you seen this? And she's, no, I haven't. And I said, well, it's kind of a poor man's Taken. And she's like, I've never seen Taken. And I'm like, oh, Taken? With Liam Neeson? Taken? Like I have a certain set of skills. That Taken? You've never seen that? And she's like, no, I've heard that reference, but like, oh my God, we have to watch it. So we put on Taken, and I swear I'm 30 minutes into the movie before I remember what Taken is about. And I suddenly realized that on the day of my daughter's birth, I'm watching the quintessential father-daughter must rescue daughter kill everyone. And like, this is the movie that I unconsciously picked out to watch. And it dawned on us, and then we laughed about it, and then I watched the whole thing going, oh my God. That's such a primal, like I considered that movie and a lot of like Denzel Washington, Bruce Willis movies recently as like they're dad action movies. They're like aging, more than middle-aged dad movies, and they're like fantasy wish fulfillment for dads, and none more so than Taken. John Wick is basically just Taken except a puppy.
Yeah.
And this is like, I'll burn Paris to the ground to save my daughter's virginity, and that's what the whole movie is about.
Oh my geez. So did you have any catharsis as you watched? I mean, you've just met this daughter.
I can't say that I was like projecting myself into this. Of course there's a like visceral like but I guess I just I don't have that particular set of skills.
That's awesome.
So when I project myself into that situation, I imagine, I don't know, talking to the police more than he did.
Sure. Well, and I actually haven't seen it either. So now I just
shit. Well, the vindication is another thing that's great, because at the beginning of the movie, no spoilers really, because this happens at the beginning, is he's like, this is a bad idea. She goes on a trip and he's like, this is a bad idea. And then he lets her go, and then it's like, see, I fucking told you it was a bad, and it's this whole like complete wish fulfillment. Like, I knew it. I knew the world was a scary and dangerous place, and now I have to go and prove that I'm. Yeah, it's so like heavy-handed. It paints with a very broad stroke,
right?
But so fun and like very. I mean, it's basically, imagine Jason Bourne.
Okay.
Many years later, has a daughter and decides to retire, and then he has to go and save her.
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, that's a great plot.
And Liam Neeson's wonderful in the role. So I didn't know you hadn't seen it.
I will now.
I don't think I wrecked it in any way. It's still pretty great. It's not John Wick great, but it's pretty great.
Yeah. I have seen the show Taken.
No.
Which is pretty decent.
The second and third one get more and more ridiculous, to the point where I don't have a problem spoiling the third one for you at all. There is a scene when fucking somebody's been kidnapped because they don't have any more original ideas for Liam Neeson to do. So somebody got kidnapped, I don't know, and in order to save them, he's on a freeway, and I if memory serves, he causes a massive multi-car pileup on the freeway where cars are like flipping. They're police cars. So he's supposed to be the good guy, and the police are chasing him, and he causes a massive multi-car pileup on the freeway.
Yeah.
Tons of people have to die. And then at the end of the movie, the cop that's chasing him is like, oh, it turns out you weren't the bad guy, so all that's fine. And you're just like, wait, how many people did he kill? And it's fine.
That's odd and gross. I can't handle it.
Yeah, there's a point when those movies, I mean, the second movie, it like right out of the gate jumps the shark.
So here's,
and then the third one is just yeah.
Here's what's great. So we were talking last week about Black Widow, and I was trying to end on the note like this holds up as an action film. This is a quality, good for like all the explosions, car chases, like beat 'em up, shoot 'em up, all of that is on point, enjoyable, blah blah blah, right? And when you've got misses in action, that's fine. I watched a movie. I think it's called Infinite, and it's Mark Wahlberg and then a bunch of other people.
Yeah. Was it any good?
No.
Okay.
But it was not good in this ridiculously particular way.
Okay.
Where, so you know how action movies in the 90s, you've got the quintessential things you're supposed to do, and then the one-liners, and then there's comic relief and stuff. So there are rules that one is supposed to like adhere to. This thing seems to be following the shape of an action film, and it has it's kind of high concept, which is, I guess, the new up-leveling. It's there are like humans reincarnate,
right?
And there's someone who's wants to not do that again or anymore for reasons, and trying to keep people from reincarnating. There are people who are purists about it and people who are, I don't know. There's a lot of exposition explaining the science and the behind this. So there's heavy exposition and narration in places. Cool. And then there's actiony things that are fun. It's very beautiful. But this script, the dialogue is so bad. All of the jokes are done with inflection, but none of them are funny. And it is so bad that when I was thinking about Black Widow and the kind of pressure that's on action movies where there are female leads or female direction or female written action movies, I literally found myself just trying to construct the joke. It's like, almost all of the worst movies ever written were written by men, and maybe like no one's talking about it. Maybe it's just not, maybe they shouldn't do it. Maybe this genre is just not for them because they're just really bad at it. And maybe we could just consider not giving them as many opportunities. It reminds me of your story about how we never tell babies to stop trying to walk.
Right.
Like, you just keep falling, and it's kind of awful and it's pretty embarrassing. And maybe you should just stop. Maybe this walking thing isn't for you. You just keep crawling. That's fine. But that's how I felt after watching this movie, is like, maybe we should just stop letting men write movies because this is awful. And like, no one says that, but they could. It would be interesting. Just like take a break for a minute. Do some research about how humans interact. Oh, and I almost want you to watch it now because it's that fascinatingly bad. It's interesting how bad it is.
It fits the criteria, the very limited criteria that I need for like bad movie. Like I watched Tomorrow War, we talked about that one, right? And I was just like, ugh. And you didn't, that one didn't even bother you. So if this one as much, if this one bothered you, it must be, well, can I transition from something terrible to something amazing?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned dialogue, and I just watched a movie I've seen several times before, but again, introducing Faye to it. I watched Tombstone with Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. I think, I'm not going to say the greatest Western of all time, but I'm going to say probably my favorite Western of all time. It is so well crafted and so well acted, and I've learned so much about the behind the scenes that make it really interesting. Do you remember much? Do you remember it?
I haven't seen it since it came out in the 90s. I loved this movie. I love this movie so much.
You should watch it again, and I wouldn't mind if you want to keep the discussion minimal now,
sure,
and we could discuss it in depth, because it's so. Just let me set a couple of behind the scenes frame stuff for you that'll actually make, I think, your viewing experience even better. So first of all, the movie, Kurt Russell was very involved in like even the selecting of the director and this kind of stuff. So the director, if I remember correctly, the director had never really done much. And I think that he was the guy who wrote the script. And the reason they brought him on was that he has a really unique knowledge and understanding of the speech patterns of that time. Ooh. And if you listen to that movie, there are so many phrases that are like, what the fuck did they just say? Like there's a line where he says something about like, I don't need to be healed to get the bulge on a dap like you or something. And you're like, what in the fuck are those words? Like they're speaking a different language. But the thing about it is, first of all, it's entirely period accurate. Like a lot of them are like pulled out of writing from that time about how people talk. And then also the way the lines are delivered, the acting is so good in it, and the way that they're able to go, what do they mean here? What are they trying to say? And the subtext, the movie is so quotable. And Val Kilmer gives maybe the best performance of his entire career. By the way, documentary coming out called Val.
Ooh, okay.
You know, he got throat cancer and like can't talk anymore.
No, didn't know that.
Yeah. It really fucked him up. But this documentary is like his whole life. I'm very curious to watch it because I've always been a big Val Kilmer fan.
So wait, can I watch Tombstone and then we also watch Real Genius?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, we already did an episode where we talked about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, right? Which is probably one of my other favorite Val Kilmer performances. Have we talked about
we did Ghost in the Darkness too.
Did we talk about and Top Secret? We talked about Top Secret?
No.
That's his first movie.
Right.
Before Real Genius.
It's coming back to my brain.
Top Secret, it's like
okay.
Like classic
isn't it the shoot
it's
Airplane.
A parody movie. It's like Hot Shots and Airplane. But it's arguably one of the best, if not the best, I think. Like it's so funny. It's got the cow wearing rubber boots. That's like the famous iconic imagery of it. Yeah. It's wonderful. And Val Kilmer, first performance ever, fucking nails this really challenging role. He's definitely the Ryan Reynolds before Ryan Reynolds. Like,
I was about to just say that.
Comedically hilarious, but also gorgeous and like,
Van Wilder, by the way.
Yeah, right? Yes. Good. Another good example of that same comedy. See Top Secret, Real Genius, Tombstone. What else did I want to say about Tombstone? So turns out the director, whether it was the screenwriter or not, the director that they first brought on, it apparently had no idea what he was doing. And within like the first day, Kurt Russell was just like, this is not going to happen. So apparently he was more like a cinematographer. Like he set up the shots and Kurt Russell sort of low key directed Tombstone. And he's such a movie star. He just knew how to, like he had no idea. Like he started shooting the movie chronologically. Like they're like, well, what's the first scene of the movie? And so that's how they're going to fit. And he's like, no, that's not how you make a movie. Yeah. But what I understand is Kurt Russell doesn't like to talk about it, but everybody else is like, oh yeah, Kurt saved the movie. Like it was going to be an absolute disaster. And it turned into a fucking masterpiece. And Michael Biehn, in his role, like at the bad guy, Johnny Ringo, and like, so many actors too. Like the cast list. Sam Neill. Oh my God. Not Sam. Sam Elliott. Sorry, Sam Elliott.
Oh.
With the crazy voice and his wonderful mustache. And it's spectacular. So let's do that again. I don't want to talk more about it. Let's do it and let's dive deep into it. And we'll do a Val Kilmer thing.
I love the line in Grace and Frankie when Sam Elliott is on Grace and Frankie dating one of them. And I think it's Frankie who says, there are only 10 men in the world who can pull off that mustache, and he's 8 of them.
Oh, I'm gonna share that with Faye. She'll love that.
So good. Oh, that makes me want to also watch. I was when we left last week with the idea of like, what would your life be like if the second actor, the second option actor, got the role? And I looked up some Dirty Dancing facts. So I'm thinking of Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott in. Oh my God, what is the name of the movie where Patrick Swayze is the bouncer and he's training everybody?
Roadhouse.
Oh,
wait, Sam Elliott's in Roadhouse? I didn't remember that. God damn it. Oh yeah, did I say it right this time? Sam Elliott. Yeah.
Yes. Oh fucking!
I didn't remember that.
So he's so beautiful in that movie. He's always beautiful.
Human being. You know what I mean?
So beautiful in that movie.
Yeah.
Everybody's beautiful in that movie. Kelly Lynch is even beautiful.
He's obviously like more traditionally something, but I feel like Sam Elliott is as much of a thing as like Christopher Walken. You know what I mean? Like he's just Sam Elliott, and you would never want him to be anything else. And you never want Christopher Walken to do something else. Like when he's in a movie, you're hiring Christopher Walken to do Christopher Walken. Goldblum too, right? Like there's these people. Sam Elliott, I totally put him up there with Christopher Walken and Jeff Goldblum. Like Sam Elliott, right on that same list.
I just want to make these lists now.
So iconic.
Oh God. Okay, I have a giant list of things I want to watch, and they're going to be feeling. I'm really excited for the westerns. I've been feeling pulled and called to westerns. I have
several others that I would love to do. I'm not like a huge western buff, but man, it's an interesting theory that because westerns, well, first of all, like the western genre was basically created because it was cheap, because it didn't cost a lot of money, because the horses were already around, because most of the movies and TV that was being made at that time was in California. So it's easy to go out to the ranches and whatever and film stuff. So that basically was a genre by necessity. But there's an argument to be made that because there were so many of them, it got a greater opportunity of like survival of the fittest, like Darwinian evolution, that the movies have been able to, like, certain people have come along and gone, can I craft the perfect? And I've like what 310 to Yuma is another one. I don't know if you've ever seen that is often held up as one of the greatest just movies as well as westerns.
Haven't seen it yet.
There's another one that I've not finished. I've heard it's kind of brutal, but really good. It's called Bone Tomahawk. And I heard that was an amazing western. So there's options.
The other
if we
thing
want to go down this,
that those of us who live in America, who are many generations in, it's kind of the only. It's not the only American story. Slavery's it's
American myths, but no, you're right. Yeah.
As far as like a shared kind of history, shared kind of mythology, shared story, shared culture, which is not great. Frontierism and the shooting and the such, not great, but it is really a part of who we are.
Yeah. No, but that's what makes the Tombstone and the things like the Wyatt Earp story so compelling. Is it's like law and lawlessness, and that as our history, and obviously it's ramped up and dramatized, but
and it's like the striving for gold. It's the more modernish version of not having to be paying taxes to a king, going out and finding barren land and then making your own thing. That is part of the value system of our version of capitalism and what we've been doing.
One of the weirder movies around that time period that I feel like it's definitely like a slice of history, but doesn't feel like a Western, that I think we've talked about is, you remember the movie Far and Away?
Yeah.
With Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise.
Don't think I finished it.
I remember I don't think this is spoiling too much. There's one segment of the story that is about when they were giving land away. And there's like literally a starting line, and then there are plots with flags on them.
Yep.
And you all run to go find one, and now this is your property. And there's nothing there. So it's like, okay, we found one by a river, good for us. But it's like where's good farming land? And that idea, like that even happened at one point is mind-blowing. You're in right time, right place. But that's an interesting movie to watch too. I liked that.
Did you watch the Netflix limited series? It was the first one they did. Godless. It's like an 8-episode Western arc. It is gorgeous and it is gritty, and it feels like it happens in kind of real time for a Western. Because you like there all the montage of like a guy shows up with a gunshot wound on a woman's ranch, and she helps him heal. In the meanwhile, she's on the outskirts of this town where all the men were killed in a mining accident, and so the women are running this town.
Oh, this sounds awesome.
And
this sounds fucking awesome.
Guy was running from this.
Wait. Okay, don't tell me anymore. I'm putting this one on the list because it already sounds great.
It's so good.
I've heard a lot about Deadwood. Did you ever get into that?
Oh yeah, it's fun. I just watched the Deadwood reunion movie.
Is that the one? I get Deadwood and another one confused. Is Deadwood the HBO one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And because I've never seen that one, and there's another one, and I can't remember the actor's name now. He was in the second to most recent Die Hard. He was the bad guy. He was in Santa Clarita Diet.
No, he's in Deadwood.
He's in Deadwood? What's that guy's name?
Freaking. Normally I say fucking and then I remember their name. Is it a Tom? Is it a Tim? Tim Oliphant.
I'm looking it up. Tim Oliphant. Good job. Well done. Not in a million years.
Right?
I wouldn't have.
He is wonderful in Deadwood.
Yeah. I've learned he's grown on me as an actor. I think it was Santa Clarita Diet that made me go, God, all right, I like this guy.
He's so fucking adorable in that.
Yeah.
And what a great show that nobody talks about.
I got canceled, didn't it? Never got really satisfying end.
I just wonder what life would have been like if I'd been watching that growing up instead of Roseanne. Just, maybe they can make that into an AI. You just like, here's a person, here's some personality traits, and then you throw different TV shows, and then watch that person make new decisions. Can they make that AI?
Well, I love our premise in Enlightened Couch Potato philosophy that the reason why you can look at the movies and TV that shape you, and that it can be so enlightening and insightful, is that like you're the one who picked it. Like, why were you obsessed with it? It's not just what you were exposed to. It's not just what was on. Because when something's on that you didn't want to watch, a lot of the time you'd get up and go and do something else. But if you stayed and watched it, there's a part of you that wanted to stay and watch it. Yeah. And why did it want to stay and watch it? What were you getting out of it? And
my
there really
was
is
dysfunctional, and I was very Darlene. It was the first time that there was like a grumpy kid that made sense to me.
That's what I'm saying is like it's both ways. It's changing you, but it's also why were you open to it in the first place? Because there was already something there.
Makes sense.
That's why, look at what you love to learn about yourself. It reflects you back. Tombstone. I love Tombstone.
I'm excited. Westerns.
Okay. All right. Tombstone. Let's do that. I'm not going to say anything else, and I got to go because it's 5 after. So later. TV deeply, everyone. Bye.